recording?
Hairs down?
Half down.
All right.
Half mast.
All right. Mic's not ready. Okay. So cameras are on.
So, to facilitate showing you about the Audiopunks plugins, we've come to the Stro Studios in Victorville, which is a good mate of mine, Javier Banuelos. He runs this place, has been building it for I don't know how many years.
It's about 6, 7 years.
6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Getting all this stuff really, greased up pretty nicely, I think. And he's just got this new kit, which I'm loving, and I think Anthony's quite liking.
I'm loving it.
Do you like it too?
It sounds great.
So this is Anthony, this is Jacob, and we've enlisted them to help us with this process. And true to the way I like to do things, it's just going with what was here, and the simplest setup to do, what we need to do today. So I've just got an AKG is that a
D112?
D112, a 545, Shure 545 on the snare. And then we have this AEA stereo mic, ribbon mic, which I really love. And that's really going to be the thing that we treat for today, is with the Spectrasonic 610s plugins, and show you what that does and how it sort of supercharges the kit. And, just to balance it off so you can hear this with something, we've just taken the guitar DI and running it through the Echomixer, Audiopunks. We'll evolve the sound with that a little bit. Same with the 610 plugin. See what we can do. Back in the late 80s, somewhere I found one in a studio. It was literally going to be thrown out. And I took it and put it on a record I was working on with T-Bone Burnett. I think it was Martinis and Bikinis. Sam Phillips was the artist. And there was a John Lennon cover song, Give Me Some Truth. And I just saw this and it looked really interesting to me. And I asked if I could grab it off the heap that it was on of other rubbish and take it in the studio. And I did, and I plugged it in, and I didn't even touch a knob. It just came up with this great sound on this drum loop that they had created, and it just sounded like so crunchy. And it was really a sledgehammer of a sound, so it wasn't getting into the nuances of what it can do. But ever since then, I've used it on so much stuff. Along with some other things, it became like the overhead sound for me. I also had a sound for the kick drum, and I had a sound, for a mono mic, and it all mixed together to do just, what I liked. And then it started branching out. I've used it on the stereo bus, and probably a dozen times, but really sparsely, just a little bit of supercharge, and then I've used it on a piano. I think I've used it on lead vocal a handful of times. My units were kind of messed up. They were really crunchy. And since then, with the company and finding out that they had never gone out of business, and because I didn't know, and getting other units and hearing what they can do in the world of not being a sledgehammer is amazing. Audiopunks has now made this available finally, as a plugin, and I just find it amazing, and I'm loving it. I'm experimenting much more with it as a plugin than I did as a piece of hardware. You can use it extreme, like just pounding it with level, or just very slightly and just catching peaks on things. which is your favorite way of using it these days, right? Have. You just got to mess with all the controls, you know, all the time, and there'll be some really happy accidents. There have been with me. I haven't used it much on guitar. In fact, I haven't even tried the plugin on guitar, so I thought I might do that. I'm finding this a lot of fun. Just, I don't know where I would end it. You know, I'd keep saving presets or my settings and then make a decision at some point. But right now, I'm just enjoying seeing what it does with tweaking everything a little bit. I'm loving what it's doing to the rhythm. That's what's really fun about it. And those cymbals just swelling up in between. And in some settings, it almost sounds like it's not even touching the guitar. It is, but it's so little. And the drums are just going wild. I haven't gone that far with it before. And that's really fun. Sounds like I put a room on it, is what it sounds like to me. So that's very simple, just those two things. Let me see, let's just take it off. Can you hear that? Like it's pretty subtle, but it's not. It's you take that out and it's all of a sudden it all sounds a little disjointed. You could do that and get. And this is sort of the way I would have used it back, you know, in the day. Let's see. Let's just take this on a joyride for a minute. That's a whole nother sound. That's really bringing up the length of the cymbals. It's just like making them really washy. And I like that too. I'm gonna put my sub in now. Oh, that's so much better.
Reverb is crazy good sounding.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
The Echomixer,
Yeah.
you could use it just as a preamp distortion box.
Well, the Echomixer too. You're talking about the Great Spring, British Spring. That,
Yeah, the Great British Spring, but I mean,
but using it with the Echomixer is also cool because you can get saturation with the Echomixer. I mean, distortion. You can get some crazy distortion.
yeah.
And then you can go to the hidden secret sauce page, and then where the amplifier is, and they have tremolo on it. And, yes.
I mean, I saw that you guys pulled it up. I didn't even know that was a part of the plugin.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
You were,
Like special
I was
classes.
ready for like what was it, like sort of like a like psychoanalysis experiment when you were messing with the spring and I was playing the groove and it was delaying as I was playing it. It's like when you speak and you hear your voice in delay. I was like, I'm gonna stay locked in.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
You
When
did.
I started messing around, that's what I was saying. Like all the footage is gonna be me just like. The spring was going around. It was so much
Should have
fun.
your eyes moving.
Yeah, I know. This is far out, man. So much fun.
I'm just gonna have a go playing with the Great British Spring, which is weird because Britain has no spring. It's fucking winter all the time. You can record drums and just do it flat, and the people are listening in the control room with some compression on it and all that, so you get so the people in the control room get a vibe. But I think it's more prevalent now. But years ago, people didn't used to send back any of these things like to the musicians. So like having something like the 610 compressor or a delay on say the hi-hat or the snare. It used to be nobody wanted that. Like the drummer would say, no, I just want to hear the click or something, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But the way that Mitchell and I were recording in those days was putting a delay on something and then having the, like a really heavy distorted compression, which would change the rhythm kind of. With,
Makes you want to play completely different.
So then you hear that and you react to it.
It's way better than just hearing the dry.
Sure.
As soon as you were tweaking the reverb and all that, I was like, oh, I'll play softer.
Yeah.
I'll play less notes.
And all that stuff coming up in between the drums will affect your playing. And I mean, there's no reason why you can't have your own pedal board. Like one mic, have the mono mic be something that they can feed to you, and you could have a delay. I mean, then you could change how he plays for the refrain of the song or something,
No, this is, I think the beauty of all this is like having texture, it not to be corny, but it does, it music is the space, right? The space between the notes is like a corny thing, but like when all of a sudden you have those textures coming through and those colors, it really does make you want to play and groove differently. And like, I don't know how to say, like, it's like
characterful sounds, not just a like a thin digital delay changing the rhythm, but something that actually adds like a resonance.
Yeah.
And you might even hear it as another drum or percussion.
It makes you want to play and do things that you wouldn't normally. And that made me feel like it's like
cool.
real music happening.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you find that if you get characterful sounds to begin with, you don't want everything lo-fi because then nothing sounds right. You need to have contrast, right? So you need something hi-fi along with the lo-fi to give it contrast. But that's what the character is, and the character comes from some of those. It comes from the whole thing, but I think it gets infused by having really weird, almost sounds that are not usable on their own, right? That you would bring in. In fact, if you soloed it, you go, oh gosh, get rid of that. But you bring it into a kit that sounds cool, and you'll find that in the long run, you'll probably need less overdubs in the long run.
Just take a bunch of room mics and just stick them in random.
Yeah.
I like the whole concept of standing in the room and putting a mic where it sounds good in that spot and then getting that, because how you were talking about blending something in, like trying to create something that's not there is, it could be, treacherous or fun, but
it's a valid thing to go stand at a place in the room, right?
Yeah.
And listen. But that's how you might find the odd sound. I usually cover one ear because I'm most often going to put like a single mic in a weird corner or something, right? And just go, and I'll listen to that, what's happening there, put a mic there. Doesn't mean I'm trying to get the sound that I heard in my ear, but I found a little spot that might have a resonance. Then put the mic up, it's going to change what I don't care about, that doesn't sound like what I heard out there. I don't know if I've ever done that. I just said, this sounds like there's a resonance. Put a mic there, go in and listen to it and go, let's put some SansAmp on it, or let's put the Echomixer on it, and then you get a sound, and then move on, and not try to spend too much time on it. Endless fun right at your fingertips. records for different reasons, and I've worked with bands. I was doing a record that wasn't a live record, mixing a record, and they wanted the panning to be exactly how they play on stage. And I thought, gosh, I mean, okay, that's, and I, respect that. That's what you want to do. But that's not what the studio is to me. I'm not interested. And to be honest with you, most live records, if you don't really use some smoke and mirrors, I just, okay, sounds like you were there, but you're not, and you don't have the visual. And for me personally, it doesn't sound as good without the visual. You're watching the band, and you're getting all that. We know what that does. I do think the live show, watching a band, you get you make up for a lot in your head. I just like it as a fantasy. I don't want to limit myself to trying to make a live show sound live.
More live.
Yeah, more. Let's make it more live than live.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of true. I want to make it hyper real, and that, doing that with using cool stuff, using a lot of Audiopunk stuff.
All
yeah,
right.
that was fun. Thank you again.
Thank you. Seriously.
So great to meet you.
Thank you all.
Yeah, likewise.
So freaking fun.
Likewise. Next year we do a record. You should be able to if you have the material, right? Just basic
we
riffs.
We literally wrote those two things. We didn't. None of that.
Yeah, I know.
Existed,
But if you had a couple of ideas or enough ideas to do 10 or 8,
we
six,
should.
and then at least have that, and then come here, and spend about I don't know 4 hours or 3 hours recording the takes.
And then
Yeah.
one take. I'm seriously so down for that. I love
Yeah,
records
one
like
take.
that.
Yeah, sure. Well, say 2.
Just
No, I mean, do
for
one.
safety.
If it's great, I always like to do one just in case you need one thing different down the line.
Yeah.
You can edit that in, or maybe you don't have to, but just do one other. And it's good so you don't have to. If something really goes wrong, then you don't have to come back. It's just a safety,
Yeah.
right? And if it's no good, it's no good. But
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It'd be so fun to just
you can make
riff all day and make shit up on the spot, man.
Yeah.
It's a lost art to do that,
Really
and then
is.
we'll take 3 or 4 weeks to mix it, and then it'll be done. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What's the place called?
The Stro.
The Stro.
Yeah.
What's the Stro mean?
Just
It's the Stro.
it's just the Stro, man. It just
Fair enough,
felt
man.
Just felt right.
I'm so sorry.
Dude,
Yeah.
you want me at the Stro?
Yeah.
Yeah.